we're either going to have a percent of increase or we're going to have a percent of decrease. We're either going to have a percent of increase or we're going to have a percent of decrease. And it depends on what the numbers are doing. If the numbers are getting larger, it'll be a percent of increase. Because we're trying to figure out, well, by what percentage are they increasing? If the two numbers you're given are getting smaller, then it's a percent of decrease. We're trying to figure out by what percentage did the numbers get smaller. Okay, so we've got percent of increase, percent of decrease. All right, now I'm going to do steps. Okay, I'm just going to try real short steps here. We're going to subtract, will be step 1. And you're going to subtract like normal. Big number minus small number. You just want a positive number. Okay, so you're going to subtract. All right, then step 2, you're going to divide by the original amount, or the original, let's say original number, because it wouldn't have to be money. All right, and then you're going to move decimal point 2 places right, because that makes a percent. That was a skill, hopefully, that you learned in middle school. To convert a decimal to a percent, you move the decimal point 2 places to the right. Okay, and then your book's probably going to say round to the nearest whole percent, round to the nearest tenth, round to the nearest hundredth. So whatever the directions are in the textbook, whatever the direction is in Math Excel, that's what you're going to do. All right, now I'm going to let you do this vast majority on your calculator, okay? Because we just want concepts here. All right. So we're just going to go straight forward. How do you crank out percent of change? Let's suppose you're in a store and some item originally cost $29.99. All right, and then they put on sale, and now that goes down to $24.49. So the numbers decreased, right? $29.99 down to $24.49. That means decrease. So this one is going to be a percent of decrease. We want to know, well, by what percentage did that decrease by? All right, so use your calculator. All right, $29.99 minus $24.99. Okay, leave that number in the calculator. How much is it? 5.5. Okay, so I'm going to write something down just so we're not doing this totally in our head. 29.99 minus 24.49. Your calculator gave you 5.5 because it took off the 0. If you're doing it by hand, you'd have a 0 on there. All right, now you're going to then leave that number in your calculator window. You're going to then divide by the original number. The original number means the number that you started with. All right, we started with $29.99. So leave the 5.5 in your calculator, hit divide, 29.99. You get a great big long decimal. All right, so I got 0.1833944, and that keeps going, keeps going, keeps going, keeps going. Okay, so you will get every time a great big long decimal. Third step, move decimal point 2 places to the right. So I'm going to take that decimal point, hop it 2 places to the right. All right, so now it's going to be in between 18 and the 3. Now, let's say it says round to the nearest tenth. Okay, I don't know what it's going to say round to in the direction, so you'll have to read. But let's say it said round to the nearest tenth. So I'm going to write 18.3. Now, this is a percent of change, so I need to add what symbol? A percent. 18.3%. Now, is it a percent of decrease or a percent of increase? Decrease, so it's 18.3% decrease. But highly, highly calculator oriented. And that was just like, I could put the story problem around it. I could have wrote it out in words. It could have been a story problem. Okay. The pair of tennis shoes was originally $29.99. There was a sale, it went down to $24.49. Now, what's the percent of change? Okay, now let's do another one. And then let's do no money. Let's just do two random numbers. All right, let's say we start with 27 and then we go up to a 48. All right, so is this one going to be a percent of increase or a percent of decrease? Increase because the numbers got bigger. Okay, all right, now first step is supposed to subtract. So what minus what? Did we say? You all talked at the same time, I couldn't hear you. So 48 minus 27? Take big number minus small number. Just good old-fashioned how you're going to subtract those two numbers. 48 minus 27. Doesn't really matter which one they provided you first. You're always going to do your big number minus your small number. Okay, so that is 21. I really did not need a calculator on that, but that's okay if you did. All right, now, you always divide by the original, so leave that 21 in the calculator, put it in the calculator. What number am I going to choose to divide by? 27, because that's the original number. That's the original number. This is the original number. In other words, it's the number I started with, so I'm going to hit divide by 27. Again, every time when you do that, you are going to get some great big long decimal. My calculator showed 0.777777777, and then finally it put an 8 at the end of my calculator window. Because it what? It rounded up, didn't it? That's how it got to an 8. All right, now, third step, move decimal 2 places to the right. 1, 2. All right, let's say we're rounding to the nearest tenth again. Okay, the directions will tell you what to round to, but let's just say it says round to the nearest tenth. So I'm going to write 77 point, round to the nearest tenth, 8. Because that 7 is going to make the 8 go up. Then I have to remember to add what mathematical symbol? Percent sign. Now, go back up and look. Did we say increase or decrease? Increase.